Hey there, you ready to flex your brain muscles? Well, let's go. Uh-oh, looks like their parents never told these girls not to walk on railway tracks. The train is heading their way. But only one girl is in real danger. Can you guess who and why? The girl with the walking stick is Bling, but she can hear the train. The girl with the earplugs won't notice it approaching, so she's in real danger of being highly trained. The police officer is asking the guy to identify his sister. She must have done something terrible. Can you guess which of the girls she is? Don't let the red hair trick you. The guy and the girl on the right have the same necklace. Must be a family heirloom. So she's definitely his sister. A robot broke into a hospital and is pretending to be a nurse. It's up to no good. So here's your chance to save some lives. Who's the real nurse here? Although they both look pretty human, the girl on the left is the only real one here. You can see a chip in the neck of the girl on the right in the reflection in the mirror. This one is a robot. An extraterrestrial came from a distant planet to learn more about us humans. It has learned to imitate real people so well that almost no one can tell the difference. What about you? The guy on the left is holding his coffee without using his fingers. Must be because he's an extraterrestrial and doesn't have any. A dangerous criminal is on the loose. The guy knows it's a beautiful girl, but she keeps changing her appearance, so he has no idea if she is the girl on the left or the lady on the right. Well, both of them look dangerously beautiful, but only the one on the right is hiding a knife behind the toy. She's clearly dangerous. A couple went on a date, but it went terribly wrong, and they found themselves on different sides of the bridge. One of them is in serious danger. Do you see who it is? Although those girls look really sinister, the guy is actually in trouble. Look closely. The bridge right under his feet is cracking. Oops. Everyone at the City Museum is waiting for a princess to give her the treasures that used to belong to her family. Two girls arrive and claim to be the royal heir, but one of them is lying. Can you identify her? Look at this picture closely. There's a price tag on this princess's tiara, so she definitely doesn't deserve the crown jewels. Tom's grandma was one cool and wealthy lady. Before passing away, she had left a note. Tom found it only 4 years later. It said, "I hid all my jewels and the gold coins at 3 p.m. sharp under my favorite birch tree, right where its shadow ends." He rushed to the tree, waited until the right time, and started to dig. But there was nothing there. Why? It's been 4 years since Grandma hid her treasures. The tree has grown taller, and its shadow has become longer too. A criminal stole a painting that's worth millions from an art gallery. One visitor noticed he got into a white car, but he parked it next to 2 other white cars and ran inside an apartment building. How can the police find out which of the cars belonged to the thief? The ground under the first and third cars is dry, but since the ground under the second is wet, it means it just arrived. Jim sees an ad on TV. Whoever can hold their breath underwater for longer than 8 minutes can set a new record and get $5,000. He never did it before and has no training for it, but he manages to set the record and gets the money. How did he do it? He was just holding a glass of water above his head for 9 minutes. Wow, and he got away with that? The luxury shoe store just got a new pair decorated with gems that cost as much as a fancy sports car. They invited the press and some VIP guests to the presentation. But oh no, while everyone was looking at the screen, the shoes were gone. Can you guess who stole them? Compare the images. This journalist suddenly became visibly taller. She must be wearing the stolen shoes with high heels. Lisa is on a date at the coffee shop. The guy keeps talking about his expensive cars and villas. She seems doubtful, so he wants to impress her and brings her the most expensive drink on the menu. And that's when she knows he's definitely a liar. What gave him away? The drink has a name on it, and that name is Tiara. The guy just stole it when it was ready. I have 6 faces and 21 eyes, but I cannot see. What am I? The correct answer is dice. 2 besties, Sally and April, go to a party. April really likes one of the guys she meets there, but she's shy to say his name out loud. So she shows Sally her phone and opens some apps, one after another. Can you tell me the name of her crush? If we put together the first letters of each app, we'll get the name Jack. Anastasia has applied for a job at a company that does professional expertise to tell real paintings from fakes. The interviewer likes Anastasia and offers her to sign the contract immediately. But she refuses to sign it and then gets the job. Does it make any sense? Looks like the contract was the final test. There were clearly no rockets flying in Van Gogh's Starry Night. Anastasia noticed it and got the job. Sam is a fan of horror movies. He grabs some popcorn and sits down to watch the new episode of his favorite show. 15 minutes later, Sam himself looked like he was in a horror movie. Yet no one broke into the apartment. Can you guess what happened here? Sam's cat, Mr. Spicy, must have gotten scared with all the terrible sounds that came from the TV. It jumped on top of Sam and scratched him. 3 best friends are traveling in Europe. When they arrived at the airport, they discovered their flight was really from a different airport, and it was an hour's drive from the one they were at. Their flight is at 11 a.m. They can either catch a taxi for $120 or buy tickets for a later flight for $200. What should they do? Look at the clock. It's 10:30, so there's no way they can make it on time. New tickets it is. One of her 3 bodyguards is blackmailing a famous singer. They say they'll sell all her secrets to the media unless she pays $1 million. She's too afraid to tell the police the name in front of the suspects, so she makes a secret code. The names of the bodyguards are Lisa, Jake, and Bill. So, who's the bad guy here? If you turn the code upside down, the numbers will look like a name. It's Bill. A teacher gives his students a task to make a presentation about their favorite hobbies. Steve has the most impressive one. He snowboards, he does bungee jumping, meets with celebrities, and volunteers at the dog shelter. But everyone figures out he's just lying. How did they guess? When you look closer, you can see that all these photos are from different accounts on Instagram, and you can't see his face in any of them. Well, Steve took revenge for this humiliation. He punctured one of the tires on the teacher's car. Luckily, there's an extra tire in the trunk, but the teacher doesn't have 4 bolts to attach it. What should he do? He can unscrew 1 bolt from the other 3 tires and attach them to the new one. Each of the wheels will have 3 bolts, which should be enough to get to the nearest car repair shop. I have one eye, but I cannot see. What am I? The answer is a needle. Its eye is used for some other purposes, you know. Hey, think you're a master of logic? Get ready to twist your brain into knots with these mind-bending riddles. Two patients are in the hospital and connected to IVs that are keeping them alive. The guy is about to cut the girl's IV tube, but she's alert and ready to cut his IV tube any second. Oops! Who is in real danger here and why? Well, both of them are in danger. The IV tubes are crossed. The guy's IV bag is connected to the girl, and the girl's IV bag is connected to the guy. If either of them cuts the other's tube, they will actually cut off their own supply. Nah. Now this one is for the sharpest eyes only. Can you tell which of these ladies lives alone just by looking at the pictures? The woman on the left is not alone. There are two towels in the background, so someone else must be sharing the bathroom with her. Sally was dreaming about going on a road trip to Europe with her besties, but her parents didn't let her go. Instead, they gave her the money to join a knitting camp in Ohio. Everyone was happy until they demanded that she send them a photo. They instantly knew she was lying. How did they find out? Sally was smart enough to bring yarn and make her friends pretend they were avid knitters. But what is that in the background? Looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. They did go to Europe after all. The guy of her dreams just asked Liza out on a dream getaway for the weekend. The flight is leaving in less than 3 hours, and she literally has only a minute to get ready. Her closet is a total mess, and the only light bulb is out. She needs to find a pair of socks in this huge box in the dark. All of the socks are in her favorite colors, red, white, and blue. How many socks does she need to grab so she gets at least one pair of the same color? Luckily for her, Liza just needs to grab 4 socks. Even if 3 of them are all mismatching, the 4th one should match with one of the others. 2 happy couples just had the weddings of their dreams and posted photos to make everyone else jealous. But it looks like only one couple is actually wealthy enough to afford this wedding. Can you tell who's lying here? The couple on the right are faking it. Look closely, the setting isn't real. They are not at a tropical island, but at a photo studio. The couple on the left panel are truly wealthy. They are on a luxurious tropical vacation at a private beach. Aria's favorite author, Bella Wright, is coming to town for a book signing, but the only way to get a ticket is to solve a riddle the event organizer posted online. DEEF. Can you help Aria figure it out? It's feedback. Feed spelled backwards. Sarah checks into the Starlight Hotel. In the lobby, 3 porters offer to take care of her luggage. She has some really expensive clothes and watches inside, so she needs to be careful. Can you guess which of the porters she can trust with her stuff? The first porter has a uniform with the logo and name of a different hotel. The second porter has 2 golden watches, one on his left hand and one on his right. Looks like the left watch is too big for him, so he probably stole it. The third porter looks totally normal, so Sarah should choose him. Oh no, this girl is about to be eaten by a shark. Or is she? What happened here, and how did she survive? Look at her wristband. She's at an amusement park. The shark isn't real. Strange amusement if you ask me, but I hope she's having fun. Michael is a huge coffee fan, but he decided to try something new this year. Now, he drinks 1 cup of coffee every day, but on even days of the month, he also has a cup of matcha latte. How many cups of matcha latte will he have this year? All months but February have 30 or 31 days. There are usually 15 even days in each of those 11 months. If we multiply 15 by 11, we get 165 days. If there are 14 even days in February, then the total number of matcha lattes Michael will have in a year is 179. That's a lot of caffeine. Someone stole a tiny but really rare and expensive painting during an art exhibition. The detective arrived on the spot and found 3 suspects who were standing close to the crime scene. Of course, each of them claims it was not them. Liza says, "I want to run for mayor of the town. Why would I risk my reputation like this?" Anna says, "Excuse me, but I'm a billionaire. I have enough money to buy this entire gallery, so why would I steal?" Sammy, who works as a receptionist at the art gallery, says, "I had no idea this painting was so expensive. I'm new here. Who's lying?" Look at Anna's bag. Chanel is clearly misspelled, so it's a fake. Why would a billionaire wear it? I don't think so. She must be the real thief. Chucky and Lucky are twins. They were born in October, but their birthday is in November. How is this possible? October could be the name of their town, and November is the real birth month. Sam sees the girl of his dreams and instantly falls in love with her. He wants to know everything about her, but she refuses to share any information unless he solves a riddle. "I'm twice as old as my sister, but in 10 years, I'll only be 1.5 times her age. How old am I now?" Looks like his love is 20, and her sister is 10 years old. The girl didn't expect Sam to solve the riddle so easily, so now she wants him to solve another one before she tells him her name. She points to her car parked nearby. "It's right there on my license plate." Can you figure out her name from this combination? Try reading it upside down. Her name is Amelia. The police arrived at a luxury beach resort early one morning. The night before, someone attacked the lifeguard and left him unconscious on the beach. 3 guests were suspected: Bella, Mark, and Sophie. The police searched their rooms for clues, and here's what they found. Can you tell who attacked the lifeguard by looking at these rooms? It was Sophie. She had no swimming gear or items for relaxing at the beach, so she wasn't at the resort for typical beach activities. She must have had a different reason for being there. Perhaps the boyfriend was Michael the lifeguard from the previous question, who was now hitting on Amelia. Just guessing. Let's move on. Mickey has 10 coins in his pocket, worth a total value of $1.55. One of them is not a dime. What coins does he have? It must be $1/2, 1 nickel, and 8 dimes. No one told you only one coin isn't a dime. Sandra decided to play a quiz game. She's asking the same question to everyone she meets, and each time she gets a different answer. Can you guess what the question is? What time is it now? Uh-oh, an evil AI genius has locked you in and makes you solve riddles to entertain them. You've been doing great so far, but one final riddle is the most important, as it will open the door. Please don't panic and try to solve it ASAP. Did you get it? 9:50 is 10 to 10, so it must be the villain's favorite time of the day. Yes, you're free to go now. Bye.
Mary and Sue headed outside to build a snowman in their yard. They topped off their frosty creation with a black hat. The next morning, they were shocked to find the hat missing. Determined to find the culprit, they questioned their neighbors. Mrs. Lee said she'd been busy baking cookies all evening and hadn't seen a thing. Mr. Carter claimed it was too cold to step outside. Tim, the boy next door, said he hadn't noticed anything out of the ordinary. So, who snatched the hat? It was Tim. He mentioned he hadn't seen anything unusual, but how could he know that if he hadn't looked outside? Plus, let's face it, pulling off a snowman's hat is exactly the kind of mischief a kid would get up to. On Christmas Eve, the Johnsons hung 5 stockings above the fireplace, one for each family member. The next morning, they found a 6th stocking filled with candy. No one fessed up to adding it. Who is the mystery stocking stuffer? It was Santa, of course. He left the extra stocking as a sweet surprise, just like he loves to do. On Christmas morning, the Smith family found all their presents under the tree unwrapped, but nothing was missing. The only clue was a trail of cookie crumbs on the floor. The suspects were the 3 kids, Emily, Tom, and Lily. Emily said she'd been decorating cookies in the kitchen. Tom claimed he'd been watching TV. And Lily said she'd been wrapping a gift in her room. Who unwrapped the presents? It was Emily. The trail of cookie crumbs matches the ones she was decorating. She must have snuck over to the tree to open the presents while munching on some cookies. At a corporate New Year's party, employees dressed up in costumes. There were 10 warehouse workers, 4 programmers, and several secretaries. The programmers dressed as squirrels, the secretaries as rabbits, and the warehouse workers split evenly, half as rabbits and half as foxes. In total, there were 4 squirrels, 10 rabbits, and 5 foxes. How many secretaries were there? There were 5 secretaries. Let's do the math. Half of the warehouse workers dressed as rabbits, making 5 warehouse worker rabbits. With 10 rabbits in total, that leaves 5 secretaries. Santa is known for skipping presents for the naughty. This year, he's got a puzzle. 3 women stand before him, and one has been very mischievous. Santa needs to figure out who it is. The first woman is dressed as a police officer, holding handcuffs. The second is in a maid costume, holding a duster, with the head of a teddy bear in her pocket. The third is in a teacher's outfit, wearing glasses and holding a pointer stick. Santa takes a closer look and spots the troublemaker. Who is it? It's the maid. Look behind her back. Those are the legs of the teddy bear sticking out. She ripped off the teddy bear's head. Definitely naughty. Luke headed to the mall to snag some new Christmas decorations without breaking the bank. He had a strict budget of $10 and not a penny more. Luckily, the mall had a promo. For every 3 baubles he bought, he'd get 1 free. Each bauble cost 90 cents. So how many baubles could Luke take home with his $10? First, let's see how many baubles he can buy. A quick bit of math helps here. $10 will get him 11 baubles, since 11 baubles cost $9.90, fitting perfectly within his budget. Now, let's figure out the freebies. We divide 11 by 3, which gives us 3 with a remainder. Since you only get a free bauble for every complete set of 3, Luke gets 3 free baubles. So, with $10, Luke can walk away with a grand total of 14 baubles. Not bad for a thrifty shopper. One winter morning, Mr. Jackson stepped out to his front yard and saw a mysterious figure standing there. The figure didn't move, speak, or do anything unusual. The next morning, the same thing happened. But Mr. Jackson didn't seem to mind having such a guest in his front yard. The figure stayed for several weeks, but then it disappeared. Why and what happened? It simply got warmer, and the figure melted away because it was a snowman. It so happened that while Santa was sleeping, Krampus locked him in his room with no way to get out. But that doesn't mean the kids won't get their gifts. They will, as Krampus has his own plans. Traditionally, Krampus would punish naughty kids with birch rods, but this year, he's feeling generous. Each kid will get to choose 1 out of 3 boxes, and only 1 will contain an actual gift. The other 2 will have, well, let's just say they'll be pranks. Can you guess which one of these 3 boxes has the real gift? It's the box on the left. The one might have appealing wrapping, but the flies buzzing around it make it look suspicious. As for the box on the right, see those black fingerprints? It's probably full of coal. So the box on the left looks the safest. Actually, it's not entirely true that Santa had no way out. Long story short, he managed to escape that room and Christmas was saved once again. But how did he do it? Let's rewind a bit to Santa's room. Take a closer look. Sure, the window is too small and too high up for Santa. But remember how he usually gets into houses? That's right, through the chimney. And guess what? There's a fireplace in the room. Santa could have waited for the fire to go out, but there was a bucket of water right next to it. So Santa used the chimney to escape. Chloe was getting ready for Christmas dinner. She wanted to bake some cute Christmas cookies, but she didn't have enough ingredients in her kitchen. So she wrote a grocery list and gave it to her husband. However, she made it a bit tricky. Instead of words, she drew a picture. It showed a cow in a bottle with a lot of flowers around it. Based on this picture, what was Chloe's husband supposed to buy? A bottle of milk and a lot of flour. Okay, let's play Santa. These 3 guys, Jake, Glenn, and Finn, don't believe in Santa anymore, so they didn't bother writing any letters to him. But Santa really wants to make them happy by bringing them gifts, so he sends a few of his elves to observe the guys and figure out which present would make each of them happy. Can you help them out? First up is Jake's room. Which gift would be the best for him? Jake seems to be really into music, so a shiny new guitar would be a perfect match. Next, there's Glenn's room. What is the best possible gift for him? Judging by all the posters on his wall, Glenn likes skateboarding. And if you look closely, you'll see that his skateboard is broken and tucked under his desk. So Santa can make him happy with a new skateboard. Finally, there's Finn's room. This one seems a bit harder. His room doesn't have many clues like the others did. Pay attention to the smallest details. Let's see. Plain gray walls, nothing interesting. The desk is pristine, not a trace of anything that could give us a hint. Look, there's a cat bed that's empty. No cat photos, no cat bowls. Nothing that shows there's an actual cat living there. Does that mean all Finn wants for Christmas is a cat? Maybe, but giving a pet as a gift isn't very sensible, so Santa will get him a nice plush cat instead. Okay, everyone got their gifts, but what about Santa? You need to show your gratitude for the gifts. While it might be hard to pick the perfect gift for him, he can't resist yummy food. Take a look in the fridge and see what you could treat Santa to. Of course, it's milk and cookies. Traditionally, it's a glass of milk and some cookies that you leave out for Santa, so make sure to stock up before the festive season. Cheers! Look at these people very attentively. Which of them is a werewolf? The girl is the werewolf. Have you noticed that chain? She's tied to the bed so that when she transforms, she won't be able to run away and get into trouble. How about these ladies? Which of them is going to get wet? The second lady's dress is way bigger than her umbrella. Her dress will get wet very soon. Now, look at these people. Are they fighting? Is she robbing the woman? Or is it something else entirely? Can you figure out why he pushed her? The man has actually just saved the girl's life by pushing her. A car is approaching them. The traffic light has already changed and it is now green for the traffic, not pedestrians. Look at these nurses very, very attentively. One of them isn't what she seems to be. Can you figure out which nurse is fake? The first lady does look professional, but we all know that looks can be deceptive. Look at her shoes. They're muddy. That likely means she managed to steal the scrubs but couldn't find clean shoes. There's something creepy about all of these three people. Especially the bartender. He gives me the chills. But only one of them is a real zombie. Who is it? Even though the bartender looks like a zombie, it's actually just green paint. See those white patches of skin next to the edges of his clothing? The lady in yellow is a human. There's nothing strange about her. But the lady in purple is a different story. She is a zombie. Look at those weird red stains on her dress. They're not from the hot dog since she hasn't started eating it yet. Now let's check how quick-witted you are. 5 people were asked to step over a pencil that was lying on the floor, but none of them managed to do it. Can you figure out the reason? It's simple. The pencil was placed near the wall. Another one for you. How many bricks does it take to complete a building? Just one, the last brick. Some math can't hurt. A young lady has the same number of brothers and sisters, but each of her brothers has 2 times fewer brothers than sisters. How many sisters and brothers are there in the family? There are 4 girls and 3 guys in the family. Comment whether you got it right. Now it's time for some serious detective work. Michael invited his friends to a party. At one point, the young people decided to play hide and seek. The only place Michael asked his friends to stay away from was his uncle's study. The room was likely equipped with all kinds of traps. When the game started, Daniel couldn't find a safe hiding place, and he sneaked into the first room he came across. There was only one window and one more door in the room. But Daniel heard a horrible roar coming from behind this door, so he didn't risk opening it. The door he'd come through had a password lock with letters on it. The guy looked around and noticed a slip of paper in the corner. He picked it up and saw 4 numbers on it. 1659. Daniel thought for a while and got out of the room. How did he do it? The code was the first letters of the 4 numbers, OSFN. The CEO of a large company called the police. He was sure one of his employees, Victoria, stole a memory card with secret information. She was going to sell it to the competitors. The police arrived at Victoria's house, but the woman didn't let them in without a warrant. By the time the officers returned, Victoria had already been sitting in her car, ready to drive off. The police officers arrested the woman. They searched her car and home, but found nothing. And then, one of the detectives realized where Victoria kept the memory card. Do you know it too? When the police first came to her, the woman had her hair down. But later, Victoria changed her hairstyle. The memory card is hidden in her bun. Ben was the chief engineer in a secret laboratory that produced robots. One day, he had to test a new experimental robot model. Ben shut the door and switched the robot on. But something went wrong and the machine got out of control and began to attack the engineer. Ben rushed toward the door, but it wouldn't open. Looking around in a panic, the man spotted several things that could help him to fend the robot off. A pointer, a short rubber stick, a deodorant spray, and a lighter. Which object should Ben use to protect himself? The rubber stick would do nothing to stop the robot. If Ben had enough time, he could probably make a flamethrower from the lighter and the spray, but even so, it wouldn't harm the heavy metal robot. But with the help of the pointer, the engineer can reach the robot's power button and switch the crazy thing off. A crying woman called the police and told them that someone had stolen her stuff. When the police arrived, they heard the full story. The woman had been standing on the side of the road with her wallet, cell phone, and several shopping bags in her hands, waiting for her taxi. Suddenly, a man snatched her wallet and smartphone. Unfortunately, the woman had only seen him from behind. Luckily, the police managed to find a witness who had been standing nearby when the theft had happened. The man said that the thief was a tall, red-haired man wearing glasses. After he grabbed the woman's things, he entered the nearest building through the fire escape door. Surprisingly, the police immediately arrested the witness and found the woman's wallet and cell phone in his pockets. How did the police officers realize that he was the criminal? Fire escape doors only open from the inside, so the man lied from the very beginning to trick the police. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing room. The detective has 3 suspects, and all of them are from the coach's team. Brandon says that after the training, he stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more and hasn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swears that straight after the training, he went outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James claims that when he was leaving the changing room, the trainer was still there. Who is the criminal? The kidnapper is Andrew. He said that he hadn't been to the changing room yet, but he was wearing not his uniform, but street clothes. Nathan sneaked out of the house late in the evening to meet his girlfriend. The teenager thought he was extremely careful and quiet. But his whole family knew about his plan and knew he would return at midnight. They decided to make a bet. The one who would be the first to see Nathan climbing the fence would be the winner. No chores for them for 1 week. Not to fall asleep, Nathan's dad switched on the TV. The teen's grandfather settled in the living room to read a book. The grandmother went to the kitchen to make pizza. And Nathan's mom went to her room, sat down on the floor, and started to meditate. Who's going to be the first to spot Nathan when the time comes? Nathan's mom. Her eyes will be used to the darkness, and she will see better than the others. 3 criminals robbed the largest bank in the city. The police managed to catch 2 of them, but the third one slipped away. No one knows who this person is or what they look like, and the other 2 criminals refused to say anything. The police detained 3 suspects found not far from the crime scene. A detective asked each of them just one question. "Do you know who robbed the bank?" The first guy said, "I don't know, but it looks like it was James Black." The second man answered, "What I do know is that it wasn't me. I've just returned from another city." And the third young man said, "I don't know the criminals." Who is guilty? It's the third man. He couldn't know that the robber hadn't been alone.
Psst. Hey, you, the best brain of Brightside. Your help is needed. Listen up. It was Amelia's dream to become the world's most renowned detective. But to get into the Global Detective Academy, she needed to pass a tough entrance exam. First, she got an image and had to spot what was wrong with it as fast as possible. Here it is. Look at it very carefully. Can you help Amelia figure out what's wrong? The electric clock on the table shows 10 a.m. But if you look out of the window, you'll see the night sky with stars. Something doesn't add up. As the next task, Amelia had to investigate the theft of an extremely valuable painting from a private gallery. 3 people had appeared next to the gallery before the crime occurred. Jessica, who had been sketching in her notebook, Oliver, who claimed to have been installing the lights, and Sophie, who said she had been simply admiring the artwork. Amelia immediately understood who was guilty. Can you figure it out? Look closely at Jessica's notebook. Among her sketches, there is a detailed drawing of the stolen painting. Most likely, she took it to copy it. The next trial for Amelia at a grand gala. Mia's diamond necklace mysteriously disappeared. 3 guests had come close to her just before it happened. Catherine looked like she was adjusting her hair. Sarah seemed to be texting on her phone. And Emma was picking up a dropped napkin. Can you help Amelia figure out who took the necklace? Whoa, take a look at Catherine's hand. She's holding a hairpin, but there's something shiny tucked in her other hand. It must be the necklace. 3 women, Alice, Bianca, and Clara, were having coffee at a local cafe. One of them was a millionaire, but she kept it in secret and went to great lengths to hide her wealth. Amelia had to figure out which woman it was. This test was supposed to check how attentive she was. Let's have a good look at these women. Alice is wearing a simple but stylish outfit. She also has a small, elegant purse and is sipping her coffee quietly. Bianca is dressed in trendy designer clothes and has a flashy handbag. She is talking loudly about her recent shopping spree. and Clara is dressed modestly in a plain white turtleneck and jeans. She has a plain leather-bound notebook. This notebook is what gives her away. Have you noticed that the corners of its pages are gilded with gold leaf? It's actually a luxury touch that most people wouldn't pay attention to, but which is commonly found in custom-made items for the wealthy. So Clara is that secret millionaire. Amelia's next task was very unusual. She had to help Jonathan, a renowned monster hunter. One night, he was called to an old mansion. People living nearby claimed to hear strange noises coming from the building. Jonathan told Amelia that the monster was hiding in one of the 3 rooms. The first room had a roaring fireplace, the second was a library, and the third was a dining hall. Can you help Amelia and Jonathan find the monster? Check the fireplace room. The flames are flickering in a very bizarre way, forming eye shapes. A fire monster must be hiding in there. And finally, the last task for Amelia. If she cracks this mystery, she'll become a trainee detective. At an art school gallery, a famous sculpture was found broken. 3 students were the last ones to be in the gallery. Mark was supposedly cleaning the floor. Lisa claimed she had been arranging the flowers, and Alex said he had been checking his phone. Amelia figured out who had broken the sculpture very fast. Can you do the same? Look at Lisa's flowers. They're fake, and the wires used to hold them up match the broken pieces of the sculpture's internal structure. So the girl must have been the one who tampered with it. Well, Amelia got the title of trainee detective. Yes! And this was her first real case, to pass a flash drive with secret information to an undercover detective from a different city. The exchange had to be discreet and had to happen in plain sight on a plane high up in the sky. The only problem? Amelia had lost the file with the information about the detective. Uh-oh. How would she recognize them? So our trainee boarded the plane and saw 2 flight attendants, Emily and Sarah. One of them was the detective Amelia needed. But which one? Can you help Amelia? Let's have a better look. Emily is wearing a uniform with a white vest and light-colored buttons. Those are standard buttons with no special features, so she must be performing her regular duties. But one of the buttons on Sarah's uniform is equipped with a tiny camera for gathering information. Have you paid attention to that red light? So Sarah is the detective Amelia needs. Amelia was called to an accident site. A young man was hit by a minivan, which sped away right after the accident. The guy was immediately taken to a hospital, but luckily he was okay. Even better, there were a few witnesses Amelia managed to question. They described the vehicle, which was pretty unique, and Amelia headed to the house of one of the suspects. She saw a car which resembled the one in the description, but when she talked to its owner, the man claimed he had spent all day at home. Amelia realized that the suspect was lying right away. How did she figure it out? Our trainee detective touched the hood of the car and felt it was still hot from the engine, so the man must have just returned. Oh no! A rich man's wife disappeared from the hotel where she was staying. Amelia, who came to investigate this case, decided to question her husband. The man was on his own island. When Amelia finally arrived there, he told her that he had been there for the last 3 months. He explained that he was writing a book and asked his family and staff not to come and distract him. He added that over the past several weeks, he had been working non-stop from early morning to late evening without leaving his bungalow. Amelia knew right away that the man was lying. How did she figure it out? There's just one thick notebook and a pen on the man's desk. If he had been writing as much as he claimed, the ink in the pen would have finished long ago. Amelia was on a train on the way to investigate her next case. She was lucky to have nice fellow travelers. They were talking when the train entered a tunnel. Everything was plunged into darkness for several minutes. When the train left the tunnel, John, one of the passengers, noticed that his diamond tie pin was missing. The passengers were shocked, but then Amelia announced that she knew who had taken the pin. She added that she had seen it, but it was dark. How could she see someone take the pin? One of the travelers had a watch with luminous hands, and when this guy moved his hand to take the pin, Amelia noticed it. Mr. Dillon was quite famous in the city. He had a store where he sold beautiful, rare vases. One day, the man called the police and Amelia got this case. When she arrived at the store, Mr. Dillon had his head bandaged, and the room was a mess. The man told her that some guys had run into his store and grabbed the money and the most expensive vases. Then they hit him on the head and he blacked out. Amelia immediately understood that Mr. Dillon was lying to get the insurance money. How did she figure it out? Even though most of the vases are on the floor, they aren't damaged in any way, not even cracked. But if the vases had fallen down from the shelves during the robbery, they would surely have been shattered.
Oh no.
It seems Amelia is going to make a great detective. What do you think? Share your opinion in the comments.
Hey, dear Brightside detective, meet James. He's a regular guy, at first sight. In reality, very strange things tend to happen to him. See for yourself. Once James went swimming at a local lake, and guess what? One of the other beachgoers turned out to be a visitor from space. Look at these people attentively and help James figure out which one it is. It's the guy swimming in the lake. See that tentacle? It must belong to him, which makes him an extraterrestrial visitor. So bizarre. Luckily, he turned out to be pretty chill, and James made a new exotic friend.
Hello.
On the other hand, James's new acquaintance had a quirk. He liked making Earthlings crack his riddles. So, he asked James all of a sudden, "I'm a person, I'm a fruit, and I'm a bird. What am I?" Can you help our guy find the answer? The correct answer is kiwi.
Oh.
The next riddle seemed simple, but was it? It went like this. People buy me to eat, but never eat me. What am I? James actually spent quite some time trying to figure out the answer. How about you? It's a plate.
Oh my.
But James's new friend didn't stop. The next riddle was even trickier. He showed James a box and asked him to guess what was inside. Apparently, it was a color, but James could also eat it. What can it be? Inside the box was an orange. Luckily, James guessed correctly, so the visitor from outside the solar system gave him the fruit and let him be.
Yeah.
James breathed out and escaped from his weirdo of an acquaintance. He decided that after a nice swim, it was high time to go to a museum. He was looking at some pretty cool statues at the museum when suddenly he realized that one of them wasn't actually a statue. Which one was it? And how did he understand it? Look at the statue on the left. It has no wrist, so it must be the real thing. The head of the right statue has been replaced. See that seam on its neck? So it must be a statue too. But the one in the middle is a living and breathing human. Look at his pink cheeks and the drops of sweat on his forehead. Must be difficult to hold that arm raised all the time. At one point, James paid attention to 3 other visitors of the exhibition. All of them were very beautiful women, and James immediately fell in love. Yep, he's a very amorous guy. Sadly, one of James's new love interests is a vampire's wife. Let's save the poor guy and tell him which lady he should stay away from.
Oh.
The lady on the left might just have a very pale complexion. The one on the right is probably drinking some red-colored juice or cocktail. But the woman in the middle has been bitten recently. Look at her neck. So she must be the wife. Run, James, run! After having barely avoided grave danger, James decided to relieve stress and went to the gym. Beside him, there were only 2 other visitors, 2 young ladies. The one on the left is working out, and the one on the right is taking selfies on the latest iPhone. Look at them attentively and try to figure out which of them is indeed rich and which is just a make-believe. To understand it, you need to pay close attention to details. The woman on the left is wearing a cool fitness watch, which must be pretty expensive. Her training shoes are high quality but a bit worn out. It means she's a regular at that gym. Also, she has wireless ear pods, and a personal trainer is right next to her. As for the woman on the right, she looks flashy with her iPhone and jewelry. But if you look closely, you'll understand that this jewelry is cheap. And instead of sneakers, she's wearing flats. It seems she's never been to a fancy gym before, and she used a free trial entrance to take as many pics as possible. So the lady on the left is actually rich. Now, back to that orange James got from his extraterrestrial friend. He bought 4 more and gave all the 5 oranges to 5 boys he knew. They started eating the fruit. A finished eating before B, but after C. D finished before E, but after B. In what order did the boys finish eating apples? C, A, B, D, E. On his way home, James noticed that his neighbor's house was on fire. He also saw a firefighter nearby, but the man was just standing there doing nothing. Why wasn't this professional helping James's neighbor? Can you figure it out? Let's see how attentive you are. Have you noticed those pumpkins and Halloween decorations? The guy isn't a real firefighter and he's just wearing a Halloween costume. So James had to take matters into his own hands and help his neighbor put the fire out.
Oh my God!
The next day, James was invited to his cousin's wedding. But half an hour before the ceremony, the guy pulled his cousin aside and told her that her husband-to-be was cheating on her. How did he know? James spotted a lipstick stain on the fiancé's shirt, and the color was different from the one his cousin was wearing.
Oh no.
The wedding was canceled, and the fiancé got really angry.
Oh, really?
He locked James in a small room. To get out of there, the guy needed to figure out the password. It's the answer to this riddle. It can be hot, it can be cold. It can rush, and it can stay still. It can be hard, and it can slip through anything. What is it?
Oh my God!
It's water. After figuring it out, James was out of the room in no time. For a week, James's life was pretty uneventful until he got a call from a friend who lived in a different town. He claimed that a vampire family had moved into the houses next to his, and he was very worried. James couldn't leave him in the lurch, so he went there and found the right street. He saw 3 houses. James came up to the house which he thought was weird. Which one did he choose? A, B, or C? What do you think? Look at the footprints. Aren't they kind of strange? They lead to and from houses A and C. But what about house B? The footprints only lead in one direction, inside. Apparently, people come in, but they never get out of there. Creepy. James decided to check the house. He rang the bell. The vampire's wife opened the door. "A human, finally!" she exclaimed. "We need your help. Someone attacked my husband. Please find out who did it." James was shocked but entered the house. He saw the vampire family. He asked them what they'd been doing during the attack. The brother said he'd been sleeping in his coffin. The son answered that he'd been cleaning his clothes and hadn't seen anything. And the wife said she'd been playing the piano. James immediately understood who had attacked the vampire. Have you figured it out? It was the vampire's brother. He'd said he'd been sleeping in his coffin, but this coffin is too small for him to fit inside. He's a liar. The vampire's brother got angry, but allowed James to leave. He even showed the guy where the exit was. But James saw not one, but 3 doors. The room behind the first door was filled with dangerous, toxic gas. Behind the second door, a huge rock was hanging over the entrance. As soon as something or someone got inside, it would fall down. There was a hungry tiger waiting for its prey in the third room. Which door should James opt for? The guy took off one of his sneakers, opened the second door, and threw it inside. The rock crushed the shoe, and James easily got out of the house through the second door. Carol, Rachel, and Mia are looking to lose some weight before the summer. They've enrolled in gym classes and have been working out every day. The problem is that one of them is in grave danger and has no clue about it. Take a look at the image. Can you guess whose life is on the line? Carol, the one on the left, is doing a great job balancing her weight on top of that ball. Rachel, the one in the middle, is also lifting heavy weights like a pro. And Mia is running fast on that treadmill. But oh no, she's running while chewing gum. That's a terrible idea. Something tragic could happen to her. Kyle and Tom are big wave riders, and they're spending a season in Hawaii. One day, the sea was too strong and knocked them both out of their boards. They were almost drowning when the rescue team arrived with helicopters to save them. One of the surfers is in grave danger though. Can you guess who? The man on the left, Kyle, is climbing the helicopter ladder with only one of his hands, while the other one is carrying his surfboard. It looks scary, but he's safe. The man on the right, Tom, is struggling to climb the ladder because the ropes are about to break. He's in real danger. Betty was running late for a job interview when she was stopped by an old man on the streets. He said he could tell her the result of her interview if she could solve one of his riddles. She accepted his challenge and told her, "I am a 3-letter word and I can change a girl into a woman. What am I?" Can you help Betty out here? The correct answer is age. And guess what? She'll pass her interview. Pete and Bobby are 2 brothers living on an animal farm. They have a big, adventurous spirit, so they like to tease and play with some of the most dangerous animals around. One day, when they were teasing Ron, the bull, it got so mad that it destroyed the fence and started running after the boys. The boys started running for their lives. Can you guess which one of them is in grave danger? Well, although Bobby is crying and running behind, Pete is wearing a red shirt. The color red irritates the bull's eyes, so Pete is the one in real danger here. Rebecca and Linda are professional Olympic sailors. They set out to cross the Atlantic. In the first week of their crossing, they were hit by a huge storm. Both of their boats capsized and they were thrown into shark-infested waters. One of them is in danger of being eaten by the sharks. Can you tell which one? Both of them look like they're in danger, but Rebecca, on the left, has a huge wound on her arm. The blood she's losing is attracting the sharks, and, well, if rescue doesn't come soon, maybe she won't make it. Mary works as a manager at the local circus. They've been traveling all around the country, and every day they have to set up and put down their scenario. Her task is to supervise the workers so that they do everything according to the company's standards. She arrives at the spot, takes a look at the stage, and freaks out. Take a look at the image. Can you figure out why? Take a closer look at the sign. It says citrus when it should say circus. Oh my. Jerry and Michael went to celebrate their birthdays in a cabin near a lake. They rented kayaks to go explore the lake, but halfway through their ride, they got into a bit of trouble. Both of their kayaks started slowly sinking. Which one do you think will sink first? The first kayak has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water in it. The second one has only 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that got inside. It's definitely the second kayak that's going to sink first. Sue is an undercover detective. During her lunch break, she went to her favorite cafe. There, she saw 3 people that called her attention. She quickly noticed that one of them had probably been poisoned. Take a look at the image. Can you tell who it was? The third guy didn't even drink his cappuccino. He must be just sleeping. The second lady is awake. She has a cappuccino mustache, but that seems fine. The last guy looks off. His phone is ringing off the hook in his pocket, and he's not even budging. That's suspicious. Cindy is a nanny, and she got a new babysitting job taking care of Nims. Nims has lots of toys. She likes to play with the same 3 dolls. One night, Cindy got super scared and ran out of the house screaming, saying one of the dolls was alive. Take a look at them. Can you guess which one? Let's see. The first doll has glowing eyes, but that's just a fun feature. You can see her clothes also have the same thing. The second doll looks normal, but the third doll has wrinkly skin and her face has definitely changed after the first picture. That's the one. Maria is traveling, and she just arrived in a new city. Most of the hotels were booked, so she only found available rooms in an old house. There were 3 rooms for her to choose from. Take a look at the picture. Which one should she pick? Well, so you see the hidden spiders behind the curtains in the first room? That's a big no-go. As for the third room, notice how the AC is set to cold even though it's snowing outside? No to that. So she should definitely pick the second room. It looks pretty clean. Sunny was playing Truth or Dare, and her friends dared her to walk into an abandoned hospital in the middle of the night. To enter, there was a 5-digit combination lock. She looked around for some clues and found a piece of paper with 5 digits, 8, 1, 1, 6, 9. But the code didn't work. Can you tell what she was doing wrong? She was holding the paper upside down. The correct code is 69118. Harry was starving after a full day of work. He walked into a store where 2 chefs were baking cakes. But here's the catch. Only one was safe to eat. Take a look at both of these delicious-looking cakes. Which one is safe? If you have a sharp eye, you'll notice that the chef on the left is a fake, so you shouldn't eat his cake. The left chef has stains all over his shirt that look like blood. Plus, he doesn't have a badge on his shirt. He has a scratch over his eye, and he's hiding a syringe in his hand behind his back. There are just too many red flags here. Johnny and Miriam have a social media channel dedicated to exploring haunted houses. One Friday night, they went to a new location to film. The house they chose was falling apart, and they could hear cries coming from it. Miriam entered through the front door, while Johnny went straight to the basement. Take a look at the image. Who is in greater danger? It's Johnny. If the house decided to crumble right that instant, it would definitely hurt him. Jesse and Flo are influencers. They got a call from a brand to do a last-minute photo shoot. They got into their car and drove to the location. On the way, they were stopped by a police checkpoint. They had to get out of the vehicle for an inspection, but Jesse noticed something strange. That police officer was a fake. How could he tell? The cop was wearing a ripped shirt, but that was not the real issue. His badge said City Police with a U instead of an O. Big trouble there, buddy. Brandy was an old woman that loved making up her own riddles and asking random people to solve them. She met a couple on the street and asked them, "What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?" The couple looked confused, but they nailed the answer. Can you figure it out? The answer is the letter M. Detective James's vacation got cut short when a millionaire hotel guest was found unconscious, still holding a glass. Someone was behind it, and 3 housekeepers were suspects. Maggie wore rubber gloves. Eddie carried laundry, and Gigi held a broom. So, who did it? Look closely. Eddie's laundry includes a white sheet with a stain, probably from the orange juice the guest was drinking right before passing out. He must have put poison inside the victim's drink. James heads to the pool to relax, but when he gets there, he's shocked. A guy is drowning, and the detective is sure somebody tried to end his life. Can you figure out what happened? Take a close look at the stuff left near the pool. There's a single shoe here, but where's the other one? That suggests that this man got pushed into the pool really fast, and the person who did it probably knew he didn't know how to swim. A guest is now begging James for help, saying her wallet was stolen. The detective then asks to check the security cameras at the last 2 places she visited to figure out who the suspect was. Suddenly, he says she can rest easily. But why? In this footage, we can see that her wallet is under the table of the restaurant. She must have gotten up at some point and dropped it. Hopefully, a waiter picked it up for her. The vacay is over, and it's time for the detective to check out. The woman working in the lobby asks, "What's your room number, sir?" James decides to put his detective skills to the test with a riddle. He says his room number is a 2-digit number where the sum of the digits is 12. The difference between them is 6, and the larger digit comes first. After thinking for a bit, she answers, 93. Well done. James lands at the airport, and it's time for the security check. They ask him to take out any electronics and liquids from his bag. He pulls out his toiletry bag and his laptop. But when it's his turn to go through the X-ray, his suitcase still gets flagged. Why? Remember how they asked him to take out all the electronics? But look, there's still an iPad in there. Once James gets to his destination, he overhears a suspicious guy talking on the phone. The guy says he's got stolen diamonds in a Chanel bag. The detective rushes to the baggage claim to hand things over to the police, but there are 4 brand-name bags sitting there. Only one is from Chanel. Can you guess which one? Here's a hint. Look for the first letter of the brand's name. Yep, bag number 3 has the real Chanel logo. James is finally home, and his neighbor is freaking out. She says she just got back from a work trip and her husband is missing. There's no sign of forced entry, but on the porch, there's a table with 2 half-full glasses of water. She's with a friend and the gardener's about to leave. The police think at least one of them might be involved, but who? Let's see. One of the glasses is definitely hers because she's wearing red lipstick. The second glass means she was with someone before telling James her husband was gone. The gardener's off the hook because his dirty clothes show he was just working. So that leaves her friend. Looks like he's her lover and they plan to get rid of her husband. A jewelry store robbery really shakes up the city. The cops catch 2 guys right outside the store. Both are wearing backpacks and each one say they were just walking by. James needs your help to figure out who the real thief is. This guy might look like a businessman, but he's the real thief. If you look closely, you can see a little bit of stolen jewelry peeking out through a small tear in his backpack. Now, an art gallery owner asks for James's help. He's convinced one of his employees swapped his most valuable painting with a fake one. He shows James a picture of the real artwork. Can you spot 3 differences between the fake one and the real one? Here they are. Nice job. In a quiet antique shop, a rare emerald brooch goes missing. The only people there at the time were an elderly lady and a young woman. Detective James is convinced one of them is the thief. But who? Take a closer look at their faces to figure it out. Turns out, the old woman is actually a thief in disguise, wearing a super realistic mask. The seam on her neck gives her away, and the shawl is just there to throw off suspicion. James heads to the circus to unwind, but the magician suddenly stops the show. His rare gold pocket watch has gone missing from his dressing room. James checks the room but can't find any obvious spots where it could be hidden. Can you figure out where the missing watch is? You can only see the tip of it, but the watch is actually tucked inside the magician's hat. Turns out, it's not a crime at all, just a very forgetful guy. But things in this circus are getting scarier. Now the clown was found lifeless in his dressing room. And there was a note on his desk that said, "If anything happens to me, look for," and then he listed a bunch of words that seem random. James knows the message is coded and that the words on the odd lines are just filler. Can you figure out who the detective should be looking for? Let's cross out juggler, trapeze, and acrobat. That leaves us with the prime suspect, the makeup artist. The detective gets invited to this fancy gala. Everything's going fine until the big chandelier just falls and crashes to the floor. Luckily, no one was standing under it, but James has a hunch that someone might be behind it. Can you guess who? The wires were cut from above. Even though the floor is packed with people, only one man is trying to make a run for it. Look, you can actually see his leg trying to sneak through the emergency exit. James walks into his house, only to find a riddle written on his walls. The more you have of me, the less you see. What am I? Do you know the answer? The answer is darkness, says James. But as soon as the detective says it out loud, his lights are suddenly switched off. James's living room is now super dark, and he needs your help to switch on the lights. But only one lamp is working. Do you know which one? The wiring of lamp number 2 is all tangled up, so the cable may be broken. Bulb number 3 is burnt out. In number 4, the switch is already on, but the light is still off, meaning it's also not working. Lamp number 1 is the correct choice. The detective rushes upstairs to figure out who's behind all this and finds his wife chained to a chair on the 2nd floor. To free her, he needs to crack the 3-digit code from the padlock. There's a clue left for him. The 3 numbers refer to your favorite secret agent. His spy name is James because he was inspired by none other than the famous movie character James Bond. And what is Bond's most famous code number? 007. Those are the 3 digits we're looking for. Now that she's free, James's wife points to the table, saying the dinner's ready. She looks nervous, so the detective immediately senses that something's off. This must be the work of the suspect inside his house. There are 4 plates on the table, but only one is safe to eat. Keep in mind that James is seriously allergic to seafood. Plate number 3 looks like onion rings, but they're actually fried calamari, so James has to stay away from that. The only safe choice is plate number 4. After pulling off a few more tricks, the suspect finally gives up and bolts out the door. Phew! Now the detective can finally relax in peace with his wife. In space, making the wrong decision can cost you your life. But if you solve all the riddles, you'll be safe. To activate the navigation system and return to Earth, you need to enter a 3-digit code. You'll need to answer 3 questions to find the correct numbers. How many planets are there in our solar system? What is our planet from the Sun? How many satellites does Mars have? The code is 832. There are 8 planets in the solar system. Earth is the 3rd from the Sun. Mars has 2 satellites, Phobos and Deimos. At a research base on the moon Titan, one of the crew members turns out to be an extraterrestrial spy. Here are the suspects. An engineer who claims to be able to breathe the local air without a spacesuit. A cyberneticist with different eyes. An astrobiologist whose hands are constantly cold. The engineer who says they can breathe on Titan without problems can't be human. The atmosphere here is not suitable for breathing for us. Oh no! 2 astronauts are floating in open space near their spacecraft. Only one of them is tethered to the ship. Who will reach it first? Or maybe they'll do it at the same time. The tethered astronaut will reach the ship first. They can pull themselves along the rope, controlling their movement and speed. The untethered astronaut can't move independently unless they push off something. If they do push off, they will move toward the ship but won't be able to adjust their trajectory or speed. 2 female astronauts on the orbital station seem suspicious. One is always smiling and pretends to act normal. The other one who is also smiling but always keeping her hands in her pockets. Which of them isn't human? The correct answer is the blonde astronaut. The edge of green fur right here is a clear clue. She hides her furry ears and wears a spacesuit even inside the station, so as not to give away her true nature. Astronauts on board the ISS complete an orbit of Earth every 90 minutes. They move from the bright side into the shadow, and then back to the side of sunlight. So how many sunrises and sunsets do they see every Earth day? 16 times. You just need to divide 24 by 1.5. You're on a spacewalk to repair a satellite, but a sudden bang throws you away from the ship. Your maneuvering system is out of order. How will you get back? You can wait for help, staying still. You can try to move your arms and legs, trying to swim back. Or you can drop one of the tools and push off from it. There's no air in space, so flapping your arms is useless. But throwing a heavy object in the opposite direction will give you momentum in the right direction. You are an astronaut on a damaged spaceship, and your navigation system is down. The only clue left is a message from an unknown intelligence. Your mission control tells you this code is using a simple letter number system. Which planet should you set your course toward? It's Mercury. You receive an alert. A giant asteroid, 7 miles wide, is hurtling towards Earth. A scientist suggests, let's launch a satellite to orbit the asteroid and use solar sails to gradually alter its trajectory. A mechanic says, let's attach thrusters to the asteroid to nudge it off course over time. An astronaut offers to send a spacecraft with gravitational tractors to tow the asteroid away from Earth's path. Which course of action will you choose? Listen to the scientist. Using solar sails or reflective paint can change the asteroid's trajectory through the Yarkovsky effect, gradually deviating it from Earth's path without causing damage. 3 planets sent you a signal offering to land there. The first one responded with a quick hand gesture. The second was silent and nodded. And the third one simply laughed. Which is the best place to go? The silent nod is the most universal gesture of agreement, so it's probably the safest option. A quick hand gesture can be either a greeting or a warning, and laughter without an explanation could mean some unpredictable civilization. There are 3 black holes in front of your ship, a small one, a large one, and a giant one. All of them suck in light and matter, but only one of them is a portal. Which one should you choose? Go for the giant black hole. The blue light is the radiation of a tunnel to another dimension, passing through its center. The small black hole is spinning so rapidly, its gravity will tear apart even light. The larger black hole is almost motionless, like an eternal trap. Space travelers are looking for a good place to land. There are 3 planets ahead of them, but 2 of them hide a serious danger. What planet should they choose? They should opt for the bright green planet with normal vegetation. The black forest on the first planet is the giant tentacles of a creature waiting for prey. The bumps on the second planet are the eyes of a colossal monster that could wake up at any moment. Suddenly, you realize you're being pulled toward another black hole. Your only chance is to act fast before you cross the point of no return. You have 3 possible choices. Fire your engines at full power and try to fly straight away from the black hole. Use your thrusters to move sideways, trying to orbit around it and slingshot away. Eject all your cargo to make your ship lighter and escape gravity. What is it going to be? The second option is the safest. Trying to fly straight away is useless because the gravity is too strong. Ejecting cargo won't make a big difference in this case either. Your oxygen tank is leaking, and you have only 10 minutes of air left. You find 3 emergency oxygen tanks, but only 1 is safe to use. Which tank should you choose to survive? If Tank C is telling the truth, then Tank A is lying, meaning it's not 100% safe. That would mean Tank B is the safe one. But if Tank C is lying, that still makes Tank A unsafe. Either way, Tank B is your best choice. 2 space crews are competing. Who will make it to Saturn faster? Looks like one captain managed to take his spaceship there first. This selfie is supposed to prove it, but something feels off here. Can you see it? Saturn is famous for its rings, and there are clearly no rings in the photo. The captain must have forgotten about it with his desire to win. Your spaceship's navigation system is fried, and you need to get back to Earth. You find a map with 3 route options. Route A is the shortest path, but it takes you through an asteroid field. Route B is longer, but it orbits a black hole. Route C is the longest, but guaranteed safe. Which route should you take? Go for Route B. If you stay outside the event horizon and use the black hole's gravity to slingshot forward, you can travel much faster than the other routes. Your spaceship is losing power and you need to fix it fast. You find 2 wires. The red wire powers life support, but may cause an overload. The blue wire has an unknown function but looks safe and undamaged. Which wire should you connect first? Go for the red wire. Without life support, you won't survive long enough to fix the engine. Once life support is working, you can carefully repair the other systems. It didn't work, so you need to escape, but the only way out is through one of 3 doors. Door 1 leads to a broken gravity-free tunnel where you'll float endlessly. Door 2 leads to an airlock with no suit, meaning you won't last a second. Door 3 leads to a vacuum chamber with an emergency switch for gravity. Door number 3 is the one. If you can hold your breath for a few seconds, you can reach the gravity switch and escape before the vacuum pulls you out. Congrats! You've returned to Earth safely.
Hey, you got your brain all warmed up? All right, let's go. Michael was flying in business class for the first time in his life. Of course, he was curious about his fellow passengers. Soon he realized that one of them just pretended to be rich. Which one was it? It was the guy wearing a blue shirt. On his suit jacket label, you can read that it's made of polyester. Really rich people rarely wear synthetic fabrics. A wealthy man, Mr. Wilson, disappeared from his hotel room. He was rumored to have come to buy the resort from the current owner. There are 3 suspects. Mr. Wilson's assistant said that he had felt unwell and had gone to his room right upon arrival. The hotel owner said that they had agreed to meet in a conference room, but he had gotten lost on his way there. Mr. Wilson's wife said that her husband had planned to meet with the hotel owner, and since she wasn't interested in business, she went to the spa. Who is behind Mr. Wilson's disappearance? It's the hotel owner. How could he get lost in his own hotel? Marcus, a computer genius, needed to get into his client's computer. And, of course, the client didn't remember the password. The only thing he had was a note with a hint. Which number should Marcus type in for the computer to switch on? The correct number is 4. It corresponds to the number of the intersections. A rich businessman called the police and reported that a valuable vase or vase from his collection had gone missing. It turned out the businessman had just returned from his overseas trip. While he was away, a security guard was looking after the house. When questioned, the guard replied that the theft had happened the night before. He was in the same room with the vase, reading. Suddenly, the power went out and he heard the doorbell ring. He hurried to open the door, but there was no one outside. When he came back, the vase was gone. The police didn't believe the man and arrested him. Why? It's because the doorbell doesn't ring if there's no electricity. You meet these 2 women in an elevator at work. You have never come across any of them before, but they both claim they work in your company. In reality, only one of them works there. Which one? It's the lady on the left. She has a badge on her jacket with her name and other information. She must be new in the company. As for the second woman, she's an imposter. Look at this picture and say which person is in greater danger. It's the person on the left, because his ladder is about to snap. Bridget is taking part in a TV challenge show. There are 2 doors in front of her. Behind one of them, there's an unfriendly dog. Behind the other, a case with cash. There are 2 signs on the doors. One always lies, the other is truthful. On the first door, it's written, "The cash is here, the dog is in the next room." The other sign says, "The cash and the dog aren't in the same room. Where is the cash?" The case with the cash is in the second room. The second statement is true, which means the first one is false. Now look at this picture carefully. What's wrong here? Have you paid attention to that weird mirror? It doesn't reflect anything. Another tricky task for you. Look at these people and try to figure out which one of them is weird. Actually, there are 2 unusual people here. This man apparently has 2 left hands, and this lady is literally floating above the floor. These people came to a Halloween party, but one monster might be more real than you can imagine. Which one is it? It's the girl on the right. If you look more closely, you'll see a human eye innocently floating in her drink. You're totally lost in the woods, feeling cold and hungry. After hours of wandering, you find 3 houses. Which one should you enter? The first house is locked from the outside. The third house seems safe, but there are footprints leading to the door. Those are wolf paw prints. So your safest choice is house number 2. Julian has lots of patients today and he's very tired. He sneaks a peek at the people waiting to be treated and realizes that one of them is just pretending to be unwell. Which one is it? It's Rick. His phone is in his right pocket, so he must have used his broken arm to put it there, which would have caused him a lot of pain if his arm had truly been injured. Gemma returned from Asia and brought a precious porcelain figurine. She threw a party and invited all her friends to tell them about her journey. They had a great time. But after her friends left, the woman realized the figurine had disappeared. She called the police and showed them the photo she had taken at the party. One of the officers immediately realized who had stolen the figurine. Did you understand it too? It was this girl. She hid the figurine under her hat. You met a guy while on vacation, and he introduced himself as Jason. He said that his siblings were all named after the months of the year: July, August, September, October, and November. So why was he called Jason? Well, take the first letters of the guy's siblings' names, and you'll get Jason. While traveling around Mexico, Lucas decided to visit a super famous restaurant. There, he ordered 3 dishes. But when the waiter brought them and put the plates on the table, Lucas realized that eating them all might end up badly. Which dish is safe to eat? Unfortunately, none of the dishes is safe. The first one has weird mushrooms that look like they're poisonous. The third dish contains cheese with mold, but it's not that mold that's involved in cheese making. Most likely, the cheese has just gone bad. Now, you might think the second dish is safe, but look at those beans. They're poisonous castor beans. Look at these hands attentively and try to figure out which person is married. If you look at the first hand, you'll realize it doesn't belong to a grown-up person. On the second hand, there is a mark left by a ring, but there's no ring itself. It must mean that the person is no longer married. On the third hand, there's no ring either, but it's the right hand, and we wear wedding rings on the left hand. So, out of these 3, this person is most likely to be married. An infinite number of mathematicians are waiting to make their orders in a coffee shop. The first one asks the barista for a half a gallon of coffee. The second wants to have a quarter of a gallon. The third needs an eighth, and so on. How many gallons of coffee will the barista need to fulfill the wishes of all the mathematicians? Well, just one. A man was to be sentenced for his crimes, but the judge told him, "You may make a statement. If it is true, I'll sentence you to 2 years in prison. If it is false, I'll sentence you to 5 years in prison." After the man made his statement, the judge decided to set him free. Can you figure out what the man said? He said, "You'll sentence me to 5 years in prison." If it was true, then the judge would have to make it false by sentencing him to 2 years. If it was false, then he would have to give him 5 years, which would make it true. So rather than contradict his own word, the judge set the man free. A guy got stranded on an island, and one of the main issues was that he couldn't swim. However, he managed to get off the island and return home safely. How did he do it? No one said the man got stranded on a deserted island. He just found some people and asked them to take him home by boat. Clever!
Sophia's sister Chloe visited her on Saturday. Chloe had a bunch of exciting news, while Sophia only listened to her sister and complained about life. Right after lunch, Chloe felt unwell and lost consciousness. Sophia called an ambulance. They rushed Chloe to a hospital and hardly had enough time to save her life. It turned out the woman had been poisoned. The police came to Sophia to ask her a couple of questions. The woman was shocked. "We ate the same food. I cooked chicken and made a vegetable salad. Nothing exotic." After examining the food, the police officers arrested Sophia for trying to poison her sister. But how did she do it? The poison was in the bottle with salad dressing. Chloe added some vinaigrette to her dish, while Sophia didn't touch the bottle. Look at these teachers attentively. One of them is an imposter. Can you figure out which teacher is fake? It's the teacher on the left. If you take a closer look, you'll see that she's using lipstick to write the answers on the board. 3 friends decided to spend their vacation in Antarctica. They had a great time. Polly didn't like the harsh weather at first, but later, playing in the snow, she felt it was worth it. Pablo spent most of his time taking videos of penguins for his vlog. And Ava got to do some fishing. On their way back, at the airport, security detained one of the friends for trying to smuggle a penguin. Have you noticed which of the friends broke the law? It's Ava. Apparently, she wasn't just fishing on vacation. A penguin's feet are poking out of her backpack. Look at these men attentively. One of them has a girlfriend. Which one is it? It's the guy on the right. Have you spotted a mag with a lipstick stain on the kitchen counter? Jackson came to visit his friend Aiden, whom he hadn't seen for ages. They had a great time, but Jackson had completely forgotten Aiden had one quirk. He loved making up riddles and never let anyone leave his house without cracking 1 or 2 of his newest ones. This time, his question was, "What do you swallow that can swallow you?" Can you help Jackson get home? It's already late. The answer is water. Jackson was smart enough to know he wouldn't be able to leave Aiden's house after just one riddle. True to his expectations, another riddle was waiting for him. What is lower with a head on top than without it? Can you help Jackson leave his friend's house? The answer is a pillow. Brian was going on a date when a bucket of red paint fell on him. Brian was hurt and his suit was ruined. Just like his date, Brian managed to catch 3 street artists. Lucas said he didn't want problems, so he was always very careful. Nicholas said that he had just returned after meeting his good friend. Damien said he never threw things at people. Who is responsible for Brian's bad day? Well, Lucas uses spray paints, so he isn't the culprit. We can also see that even though Nicholas uses paints, he doesn't have the red color among the ones he uses. So the one who's responsible for Brian's ruined date is Damien. His brush has some remains of red paint, but there's no bucket with red paint among his supplies. It must have fallen on Brian. Look at these two ladies. They both seem to be wealthy, but only one of them actually is. Can you figure out who's fake rich? It's the girl on the left. She's taking a photo with a luxury car in the background. But there's someone in the driver's seat, and this person looks rather shocked. Mark is taking part in a battle of wits, and the first task is to guess the word. It has 7 letters and is very heavy. But if Mark takes away 2 letters, he'll get 8. If he takes away 1 letter, he'll get 80. What word is it? The right answer is weighty. The next question is even trickier. A man went around the world in a ship, and still he was always in sight of land. How is it possible? It doesn't take Mark long to figure out the man was in a spaceship orbiting Earth. Luna has 2 friends, Jack and Owen. On her birthday, the girl wants to go to the movies with the guys, but they don't know each other, and Luna's worried they might feel uncomfortable. But she doesn't want to spend too much money. Now she's trying to understand what's cheaper: to invite both guys at the same time or go to the movies with each of them in turn. Can you help Luna do the math? It'll cost the girl less to invite her 2 friends at the same time. This way, she'll have to buy only 3 tickets. If she goes with each of them, she'll have to pay for 4 tickets. Jake loved making bets with his friends. Once, he bet that he could put a bottle of water in the middle of his living room and crawl into it. His friends were sure they would win, but somehow, Jake won the bet again. Have you understood how he did it? Well, Jake said he could put a bottle of water in the middle of the room and crawl into it. But he didn't specify if he would crawl into the bottle or into the room, so he simply crawled into the room and won the bet. Look at the man and 2 mermaids in this picture. Can you figure out which mermaid is this guy's wife? Have you spotted a tattoo on the man's neck? It's the letter L, see? And now the mermaid on the right also has a tattoo. It's the letter J. They most likely tattooed the first letters of each other's name, so they must be husband and wife. And now, look at these young people playing beach volleyball. Can you figure out who's not human? It's this girl. If you compare her with her friends, she's the only one who's not sweating and isn't red-faced because of the heat and exertion. You get lost in a forest. It's getting dark. Very soon, wild animals will start their hunt. You see 4 roads. You can choose from the north, south, west, and east, but the north path will take you to a supermassive black hole. The south road goes through a lake full of huge whale sharks. If you take the west road, you'll end up at the edge of a ginormous pit in the ground, which can't be crossed even with the help of a rope. And the east path will bring you to a sky-high mountain. It's impossible to climb over it. Which path should you opt for? You need to follow the South Road. Whale sharks aren't dangerous to people, and they will let you swim across the lake without any problems. One day, Detective Larson received a call from his friend Melinda. She told him she'd been out getting groceries, but when she came home, her husband Michael was on the floor unconscious. The detective had 3 suspects. The cook said he'd been in the kitchen all day. The security guard claimed he had spent all morning cleaning the swimming pool and the area around it. The maid told the detective that she'd been tidying the living room since early morning. Larson immediately understood who was behind the accident. How about you? It was the security guard. Cleaning swimming pools doesn't sound like something a security guard would be hired to do. George was going to propose to his girlfriend. He invited his friends to a cafe to show them the engagement ring he had prepared. Once he opened the box and placed it on the table, the lights went off. And when the light came on again, the ring was gone. Look at George's friends and try to figure out which of them took the ring. It was Miranda. At the beginning of the meeting, she wasn't wearing gloves. She must be hiding something.
So, our guy James here had passed all the first stages of the entrance exam for the Superhero Training Academy. For the final stage, the committee was going to test if he was able to determine who to save first in urgent situations. So they showed him a few images and wanted him to decide who was really in danger. Can you help him out? Here are the first 2. In the second image, the train is not moving and the lights are not on. That means the man can cross without any danger. As for the woman taking a bath and trying to dry her hair, well, it's not wise to use electrical stuff in the bathtub, so James should save her first. Now take a look at this footage of 2 people falling from a cliff. Can you help James detect who is in real danger here? The guy holding the umbrella might appear to be falling faster than the guy holding the plastic bag. However, he's going to fall right into the water, whereas there is a sharp rock right below the plastic bag guy. So, in a situation like this, James should save him first. The last image was going to determine whether James would be accepted or not. Who should be saved first? The lady absorbed in her phone in the second image is safe, because even though the traffic looks busy, the lights show a clear walk signal and cars are stopped. But the man in the first image has left a metal spoon in the microwave that he's about to turn on. That's a big no-no. James finally got accepted into Superhero Training Academy. But there, he was not going to use his real name. He needed to pick a superhero name for himself. Can you guess what his name is? These emojis might help. His superhero name is Thunderbolt Titan. Ooh. It was time to graduate. At the ceremony, the headmaster of the academy wanted to reward Thunderbolt Titan for finishing first in his class. He presented him with a mysterious chest containing a puzzle. Inside awaited a new suit, a cloak, and a high-tech gadget, but only if Thunderbolt Titan could crack the code. Can you help him solve the puzzle and claim his rewards? Look at the number sequence. What comes next? The correct answer is 7238. You just have to move the last number to the front. One day when Thunderbolt Titan was at home, somebody slid a note under his door. But it was encrypted with a strange number sequence. And below the numbers, there was a hint. Think about your device. Can you help decode the mysterious message? To decode this number sequence, we use a mobile phone keypad, as the hint suggests, where each number pair represents a letter. The first digit indicates the keypad number, and the second digit selects the letter's position on that key. For instance, 42 translates to H, because 4 corresponds to the GHI button, and pressing on it 2 times will give you H. Following this method, the fully decoded message is "Help now." A villain from the multiverse had brought all kinds of creatures to planet Earth, and the Protectors League needed Thunderbolt Titan's help to find and capture them before they unleashed chaos. The first monster they were searching for was a zombie, and the Protectors League had 3 suspects. Take a look at them and help Thunderbolt Titan successfully complete his first mission. The first person looks all dirty, but she was probably working in the garden. The second lady's grocery bag is leaking juice, not blood. So the third person must be the zombie, because the living don't wear hospital tags on their ankles. The second creature the Protectors League was searching for was an extraterrestrial being. Take a look at their 2 suspects. Who is the one hiding from the League? Look at Gary M's hospital patient chart. It says his fever is 24.5 degrees Celsius. A human can't have such a low body temperature. He must be the creature. Lastly, the League suspected that a robot was pretending to be a human at a college campus. They spotted 3 students who were acting suspiciously. Can you help Thunderbolt Titan figure out who the robot is? You might think it's obvious that the third student is a robot, but he only has a super realistic-looking robot tattoo on his arm. The first student has a blinking red light inside his shirt's pocket, but that's just a camera. On the other hand, the second student has a USB port on one of her fingers. She must be the robot. To the Protectors League's surprise, there was a 4th monster who had escaped their attention. And at the headquarters, they got an emergency alarm that it was creating mayhem at the amusement park. Thunderbolt Titan immediately rushed there. Upon arrival, he found that the creature's actions had led to a malfunction on the roller coaster ride, causing 3 passengers to be stranded dangerously. Which one should Thunderbolt Titan save first? The second guy will fall first, because he's only holding on with one hand, which is actually pretty difficult to do for an extended period of time. Therefore, Thunderbolt Titan should first save him. Thunderbolt Titan had successfully completed his first 2 missions. However, the villain was not happy that he ruined his evil plans. So he captured him and locked him in a room with no exits. There was only a note that said, "Answer this riddle and you might escape." What can fill a room but takes up no space? The answer is light. Even though Thunderbolt Titan answered the riddle correctly, nothing happened. The villain had tricked him. He had to do something, so he used his superpowers to open 3 portals for himself. However, he didn't have great control over his magical portal power yet. So, all the portals led to tricky places. The first one opened to a jungle full of all kinds of wild animals. The second one opened into the middle of a desert planet, and the third one opened to the edge of a steep, rocky hill. Which one should he choose? Remember the roller coaster mission? Thunderbolt Titan can fly, so he can choose the third portal and fly to safety from the steep hill. One night, Thunderbolt Titan was patrolling the city when he received a distress call. A woman had been attacked by a purse snatcher, and during the struggle, she fell and hit her head. She was now in the hospital room without her bag and her memory. The police officer informed Thunderbolt Titan that there were 3 men outside her door, all claiming to be her husband. Can you help Thunderbolt Titan figure out who is telling the truth? The purse snatcher might have taken her bag, but he didn't take her necklace. Look, she has an L letter pendant. And the first guy here has a neck tattoo that says Liz. He must be her husband. Thunderbolt Titan got an emergency alarm call from the Antarctica Animals Research Center. One of their beloved penguins had been stolen, and they needed his help to find the thief. After using his superhero senses, he narrowed the suspects to 3. Take a look at them. Can you figure out who stole the penguin? The second lady looks like she's hiding something under her skirt, but she's just pregnant. The third guy's backpack looks bulky, but see the flight tag attached to it? That's just his carry-on. But the first guy is hiding raw fish inside his tote bag. That must be to feed the penguin, so he's the thief. During a championship race, one of the cars was suspected of being sabotaged. Thunderbolt Titan was called to the scene to help identify which one with his scanning power. Can you figure it out before him? Take a look at the rear wheel of car 2. It's slightly wobbling, even though the car is stationary. Uh-oh. Luna here buys a plot of land with an unfinished house. The previous owner started construction 2 years ago, but he didn't finish it. Luna launches reconstruction, and soon she realizes that the house is haunted. Most ghosts are peaceful, but after a while, some mischievous ghost begins to ruin the house. Luna calls a famous Ghostbuster, Phil. He interviews all the ghosts. The handyman ghost says he's been here since the very beginning, because he fell during construction. The ghost doctor says he moved here 6 years ago to hide from people and enjoy silence. And the third ghost used to live in a lake nearby, but then settled here. That was more than a year ago. So, who's lying? The doctor. He says he moved here 6 years ago. But the house itself was built only 2 years ago. Case solved. The local music school is haunted by the ghost of an opera diva. Phil arrives, explores the school, and questions 3 witnesses. The teacher heard the singing from the basement the other day. She went there to check, but it was empty. Nellie, the student, says that he saw the singing ghost in the hallway. And another student, Sam, saw her in the toilet. After hearing their stories, Phil is sure that the students pranked their teacher. Why? Take a closer look at the basement. It's full of dusty stuff. But this smart speaker isn't dusty, which means it was brought here recently. Only students claim to have actually seen the diva ghost. Oh, busted! Phil gets out of the castle and receives a new call. People complain about a ghost on the local pier. Phil arrives at the haunted spot and sees these three ladies. Who's the ghost? All three are ghosts. If they were living, dense people, their backs would be reflected in the water, not their faces. Phil asks the ghost ladies to leave. Two of them agree, but the third one escapes to the nearest forest. Phil follows her, but he loses track. Can you help him find her? She's hiding in this puddle. Phil returns home and checks his email. He receives 2 job offers from 2 different ghostbusting agencies. One of them is willing to pay him $1.8 million with an annual increase of $200,000. Another company is offering him a salary of $2 million with no raises. Which job will create more wealth in 3 years? Alright, let's do the math. If Phil picks the first agency, his salary will grow to $2 million in the second year. And in the third year, it will be $2.2 million. So he would earn $6 million by the end of the third year. If he picks the second agency, the math is more simple. 3 times 20. And again, he would earn $6 million by the end of the third year. However, if Phil picks the first agency, he would earn much more in the fourth year. So the choice is pretty obvious. Phil takes the first job, but first he decides to have a brief vacation in a famous haunted hotel. Unfortunately, someone robs the hotel during his stay. The police officer arrives in the morning and interrogates 3 guests. Phil says, "Sir, there was a heavy snowfall yesterday, so I was in my room all day watching TV." Peter says, "I was feeling sick yesterday. I wasn't in my senses. How could I commit the robbery?" And Bella says, "I returned to the hotel about 10 minutes ago. I don't know anything about the robbery." The officer figures out who committed the robbery right away. What about you? Bella is suspicious. She says she returned 10 minutes ago. But there are no footprints outside the hotel except for the officer's footprints. The next morning, Phil wakes up in a haunted basement. He's starving. Suddenly, a creepy man enters and brings him 4 plates of food. He says that Phil can only choose one dish. What should he choose? There's a bug in the first plate. The second one has an unpleasant smell. And the fourth one has nothing edible left. So Phil should take the third plate. After a while, the local ghost offers Phil a deal. If he solves a riddle, the ghost will help him escape. What phrase is represented by this rebus below? Can you help him out? It means, "I am surrounded by enemies." Phil keeps on chasing the ghost and falls into a pit. He ends up getting trapped in a cave. Phil comes across 3 doors. Behind the first door, there's a maze. He will be lost for the rest of his life trying to get through. There's a deep, narrow chasm behind the second door. If Phil steps in, he'll fall into it. There's a zombie behind the third door. He loves feasting on humans. What should Phil do to escape? He should open the second door, then open the third one and quickly hide behind the first door. The zombie would assume that Phil entered the second door and start chasing him. The zombie will fall into the chasm and Phil will be free to go through the third door. Phil gets out of the trap and returns to the city. He's walking down the street. Suddenly, a pretty lady approaches him and asks to call the police. Someone stole her bag that had millions of dollars. Phil questions her about the thief. She says she was walking down the street when a guy came running from behind. He was wearing gloves and a face mask. He snatched the bag and ran away. She couldn't even see him. Phil asks, "How come you have scratches all over your face?" She replies that she tried to catch him and he scratched her cheek with a golden ring. It was on his right hand. Phil immediately understands that her story is fake. Why? The lady mentioned that the thief was wearing gloves, so he couldn't scratch her with a golden ring. Phil arrives at his new office. His colleagues give him a big welcome cake. He leaves it in the office fridge to drink tea together during lunch hours. He opens the fridge again and sees that someone bit his cake. Phil questions for suspects. Bella says she's been at a business meeting all morning. She hasn't even entered the kitchen today. Sam entered the kitchen only 2 times to use the coffee machine, but he didn't open the fridge. And Hannah says she's on a sugar-free diet. Lily says she was at the dentist all morning, then she just got here. Who's lying? Sam. Take a look at the coffee machine. The sign says that it's broken. Therefore, his entire story is fake. Phil's client sends him 2 pictures of a creepy haunted house. Can you spot 7 differences between them? Here they are. Great job! The next day, Phil goes to check an abandoned castle. He gets trapped in a room with 3 doors through which he can escape, but each way hides some danger. There's a zombie behind the first door. Behind the second door, there's a hungry wolf, and a spooky ghost is waiting behind the third door. Which door should he choose? Ghosts tend to scare people, but they are not dangerous, so the third door is the safest option. Phil finds himself in a hallway. The door is closed and the lock appears to be quite complex. Luckily, Phil meets the local guardian ghost. He shows Phil 3 keys. One of them will certainly unlock the door. However, if Phil uses the wrong key, he'll stay trapped in this cursed castle forever. Can you help him choose the correct key? Only the second key fits perfectly.